Hello, welcome back to Lumps of Life. My name is Jared Lumsden. Today I have another wonderful guest joining me from the team of Mercy, Christina Crist. How are you?
I am well, Jared. Thank you. Thank you.
Did I say your last name correct?
Absolutely, you did. Most people do not. They want to call me Christ.
That makes, well, I meant to ask prior and I vaguely remembered from
Right.
before. And I
Yep.
was like, oh, I need to ask and double check. And then as the intro was playing, I was like, hey, that was something that we probably should have asked beforehand. So I
Right.
just went
Yeah.
with it and hope for the best.
Yeah. Nailed
Well,
it.
thank you so much for joining me. We've already kind of had a little
Mhm.
conversation knowing where this is going to go. So tell me a little bit about the Team of Mercy and what you do, just so the people listening can kind of get an idea of what you do and who you are.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Yes. So I get to be the executive director of Team of Mercy, and Team of Mercy is a local 501c3 nonprofit that services the entire Wabash Valley. So depending on, what you Google on what day of what the Wabash Valley is, how many counties that is, that really we service about 7 counties, right?
Okay.
And that looks like Vigo County, Vermilion County, Sullivan County, Clay County, Putnam, Owen, and Greene. Really, if somebody gets our number and they call our hotline number and they need some sort of assistance, we are going to do the best that we can to find resources in their area for them, right? Um,
Yep.
so what that kind of looks like is we do postvention services after someone has lost a loved one to suicide, and then we also work heavily in the prevention realm as well. Our focus really on 2026 is bringing home that prevention, because we don't
Hmm.
want anybody to even come to a crisis point, right? But we do live in a world of crisis, right?
Absolutely.
Um, Hand over fist with mental health crisis. I mean, it is just all the time. Um, so we want to really work in that prevention realm. But what those postvention services look like are trauma scene cleanup, funeral expenses. We have grief support groups that are closed, and what that means is it's closed. You have had to have lost a loved one to suicide to be in our support group. So we really meet people where they're at. Sometimes I say the biggest part of my job is being a glorified resource finder, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I am a bereavement specialist. So one of my favorite things, and I know that kind of sounds odd to say, oh, one of my favorite things is, you know, uh, about suicide, those two things together. But honestly, one of my favorite things that I do get to do through Team of Mercy is really meet those individuals right after they've lost that loved one. Because I am a survivor as well. I lost my 15-year-old daughter to suicide in 2013. So being able to now be that specialist, to be there in some of their darkest moments, really is my favorite,
Yeah.
because I can grab their attention automatically when they know that I have been in their shoes. It's those defense walls are down, you
Yeah.
know, and I love that happens to where, I can be there for them in those next steps, and they're doing it trustingly,
Yeah.
and knowing that somebody isn't trying to take advantage of them, right, in their darkest moment, which unfortunately happens, and that is exactly why Team of Mercy exists, is because people have been taken grave advantage in these moments. Trauma scene cleanup places charging an astronomical amount. Why? Because they can.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you're trying to get away from that as quick as possible. Like that's not,
right,
yeah.
right,
And
right, right, right. Or let's talk about the flip side to that. Individuals that can't afford a trauma scene cleanup or don't even know that even exists.
hmm
I didn't know it existed, until Team of Mercy. Um, but imagine the families that can't afford that, so then they're left to their own devices to clean up that
Ooh.
scene. Let me tell you, studies show that individuals in that position are at risk to
Oh,
repeat suicide over 300%.
yeah. Well, like our brains are, we latch on to so many
Mm-hmm.
things. Like learning that through this process of just the little bit that I've held on to, the more I've been able to speak about these things, the more it unravels more things that I had no idea were stuck in my brain or the reason that I did certain things. Or so, like having an experience like that and then being responsible to then clean it up, you're still living in that space. Like the amount of things and weights that that holds on, I can't even imagine. Like
Right.
I couldn't imagine having to go through doing that. So again, like what you guys do is absolutely incredible because you alleviate that part of it. Because again, like it's something you've experienced, but I assume it's something that's just always there. It's
Right.
always there anyway. So if you add on an additional multiple pieces of this that can latch onto your brain, like therapy is great, but that's going to take a long time to kind of unravel your brain out of that, I would guess.
Right, right. I mean, yes, and that's another service that Team of Mercy provides is we will financially support counseling services.
That's fantastic.
That's the largest part of our budget each year is paying for mental health services for individuals.
Oh, that so where does like I assume this is a lot funded by just bringing in donations, bringing in, or
Yeah.
is this something that is able to be funded by like the state?
No. So we are very, very proud that we have never had we do not get state or federal funding. We fundraise our tails off. Okay.
Okay.
So like when the last time I was on, a few years back or whatever, it's our largest event is coming up in May, our Surviving the Color Run. It's a
Okay.
5K. So that is our biggest fundraiser of the year. This year, our goal is $100,000. So
That's
we are
fantastic.
really, yeah, we're halfway there. We got a long way to go. I feel like it's a long way to go, but then I'm like, oh, but we're halfway there.
Hmm.
It yes. So we do not get any state or federal funding. So
That's
we have gotten a couple local grants, but that is local money, staying locally, and our fundraising efforts.
I kind of wish that our government, would allocate some of that money that they waste on all kinds of wild, very
Yeah,
unnecessary things and, pour
right.
it into things like this that
Yeah,
genuinely help humans. But I'm very
yeah,
convinced that most of what happens in our world is the reason that these mental crises are the way that they are. I've talked about it on a lot of
100%.
different podcasts, but throughout my journey through what I've been doing, like a lot of what it is I struggle with anxiety. I've dealt with what I think is depression.
Mhm.
According to AI, I deal with ADHD and a slight version of autism, which I didn't realize that I had, but it was like, hey, this is probably why you do this. This is probably, and I'm like,
Right,
huh, that all checks out. And it
right.
like the more that I've cut things out of life, the more that
Mhm.
I've fixed my diet. I'm in the gym pretty much every day, almost to my detriment at times, where I've had to like kind of realize that too, that you can go overboard with these
Yeah,
things too. Like I almost got so sick of dealing with the anxiety and the problems that I almost was like trying to be perfect because I felt
right,
like, okay, if I can keep these things all under control, then but it's so hard. Like life's always going to throw you curveballs, and it was kind of getting away from that and pulling back that like I don't want to say need for perfection because it wasn't that. It was more of a like, oh, if I'm going to build this business, I need to be in as good a shape as possible. I need to mentally be in as good a spot as possible. For
right,
me to be good enough in the eyes of God, I need to do these things the right way. I need to make sure I'm not falling into these temptations. And it was like I almost drove myself crazy in the opposite approach. Like, and
Right.
that's all happened kind of in the last month, and dealing with those things, trying to build a business, dealing with marital problems, dealing with kid problems, dealing with
Right.
normal household things. Like, life gets super overwhelming, and then you're just seeing the worst of the worst on social
Yeah.
media, or flip side, you're seeing the best of the best. You don't,
Mhm.
so either way, you feel safe in your comfort because you're watching the worst of the worst. So then you don't necessarily understand that you have addictions, you have PTSD, because PTSD is soldiers at war, and you
Yep.
can't have PTSD because you're just a normal person, it's not that
Right.
bad. Or what, like, whatever, you deal with anxiety, depression, well, somebody else has it worse, well, this is, I don't have this, so I guess I'm fine. And then you kind of just go through life with these things, and you don't realize how much they affect you. And it's like that on the flip side. You're seeing
Right.
these influencers, these athletes, these actors, they're all put under filters. They've been working on their bodies their entire lives. They've used performance enhancing drugs, whatever it is, but you're just seeing a filtered out version of the worst of the worst and the best of the best. So then normal life kind of seems safe, but you're
Right.
not. I feel like most people are not doing what they want in life. I feel like most people kind of, I don't, like, kind of like what I was doing. I guess I was always living out of fear, trying to do something new, trying to put yourself out there, trying to do these things that you like. You have that, like, almost like cancel culture mindset, or like, I'm going to get made fun of, or people aren't
Right.
going to like me, people aren't going to, no, and you drive yourself crazy. Or at least that's what I did. I've done it forever. I've just done it for the last month, trying to, like,
Right.
figure out life and what I want to do with it. And it's such an interesting, like, process to go through, where you start seeing how many of these things affect mental health, and how many of these
Yeah.
things affect the way your brain and body operate. And, like, I was telling you before we started, for whatever reason, like, I've done 200 of these, and I still get super, super anxious. Like,
Yeah.
I've went through this conversation 100 times, even though I have no idea how it's going
Yeah.
to go. You can't plan it. You
Right.
can't, but my brain, I'll drive myself nuts. And I've just learned that if I just breathe, calm myself down, I sit with my feet in the grass in the sun, I go walk, I drink water, all of those things will start to alleviate that. Speaking out what you're thankful for. Anytime your brain gets overwhelmed and anxious, your brain cannot be thankful and anxious at the same time. So speaking
Right.
out just everything that you're thankful for in life, it's not an immediate cure, it's not a complete fix, but the more that I have taken the approach to cut out sugar, sugar kills my
Ah,
brain. Like, oh my goodness, that and the dyes. I learned I don't remember how long ago this was, so I may have already told this story, but I ate a Blondie's cookie not too long ago, and it was a blue iced cookie. And I think I made it through half of it, and I was like, okay, my face was sweating, I couldn't do it anymore. And within like a half an hour, I had to go lay down. I was like,
oh
everything was
wow.
pissing me off. Everything was like, it made me anxious. I was getting overwhelmed. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, and
Right.
I just had to go lay in bed. And then I was laying in bed, and I was like, okay, like, just breathe. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, oh, it was the
Yeah.
damn cookie. Like, that is wild, that amount of sugar and
Ah.
dye immediately buzzed my brain and, like, completely affected my mood. Like, nothing else had happened. There was nothing going on. It
Mhm.
just clicked. And I, like, and it dawned on me when I was laying down. I was like, oh, a cookie just made you do that. And
That's crazy.
it's so interesting how little things, social media is one that, like, trying to do what I'm doing, I kind of have to be on social media, but I've learned
Right.
to just post
It's
it and
hard.
go away, because
Yeah.
I can't, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to sit and, like, if the results don't go the way you think it's going to go, or this, and it's like, you can just drive yourself crazy doing all of these things, worrying about what other people think, worrying about like making sure you're doing everything right by everyone else. The most important thing that I've learned is making sure that I'm pouring energy into myself,
Right.
because if I'm pouring energy into myself and I'm taking care of myself, in return, I have the energy to give to my wife, to my kids, to my home, to this podcast, to these things that I want to do in life, because I'm taking care of myself. When I wasn't doing that, when I was eating terribly, I was 300 pounds, I was angry constantly, I was negative. I had no idea. I was ruining my life. My marriage was not great. I was not putting the attention into it. I was not a good dad. I was constantly on edge, mad. And it was mostly the things that I was pouring into my body and all these
Right.
random things that I'd held on to throughout life. And it was like, oh, each one of these, the more I've spoken them out, the more I've handled them, every step of the way breaks another level of this like internal ick, I guess. Like
Right.
these, I feel like the more you go into pain and the more you, I, I guess, normalize speaking it out, normalize, like, especially as males, like letting yourself feel emotions, letting yourself cry if you need to cry, letting yourself be angry, but not letting it stick with you, not
Mhm.
letting those bad moments turn into bad days, turn into bad weeks because you lost it. Because I've done that multiple times too, where it takes over. I let a
Right.
stupid thought pop in my head and it takes over my brain. It feels
Right.
very real, and I spiral. And it's like, whoa, what was that? Like, and now I've gotten to a point where I can catch it and I can go, hey, this is just that old bullshit. This is that old wiring. We're not going back into this world. We're not letting these stupid things, like, and usually I'll just pray. I'll go, hey, God, I know I'm not supposed to worry about these things. So we're just going to drop this one off to you, and you just let me know if I need to do something with it. And then I just kind of go on about my day and let it
Right.
fall off. And so the reason I spoke on all that was because I kind of want to go into your world a little bit and how you're able to do what you do. Obviously, losing your daughter and then being able to utilize that to have the want to help other people and to utilize that for such a good purpose. And that's not an easy mindset to
Mhm.
establish. So can you kind of walk me through what that journey's been like for you?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on and wanting to have a conversation like this. I have a lot of respect for just open, honest conversation,
Mhm.
right? Which I have found um, is very hard for people.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard for people to be authentically themselves. They live in a facade world,
Mhm.
this whole facade. And let's start at the beginning. I knew after losing Hannah that I was going to need to be around like-minded people. Um, you have a decision. You can be a basket case. You can act like it didn't happen. Or you can get busy, right?
Mhm.
Those were the choices for me. And for me, I couldn't just sit in it, right? Um, I turned my mess into a message. I turned, when I say I actually didn't do it. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
That came out of nowhere. So it wasn't me that did that. It was truly God.
Mhm.
God making a purpose out of my mess, right? Holding me up, giving me the strength. Even today, a lot of the things that you talked about just now, this past month or whatever, I totally relate to 100%. So that's why one thing that Hannah's death gave me was I do not believe in coincidences
Mhm.
at all. There are many, many reasons why today at 12 o'clock, we are doing a podcast talking about real life shit,
Yep.
right? Like,
Absolutely.
that, there are many reasons, and life is lifing for me right now. Like, it is like, bam, and then it's like, oh, wait, you get back up, oh, bam,
Always.
like, here's this, and it's all big stuff. It's all big stuff. And I correlate that all the way back, I mean, even further, but before Hannah's death, that, man, I always say to myself,
can I stop you real quick?
yeah,
When you get hit with those waves, because that's something that me and my wife have talked about a lot, because I feel like in life, that's kind of how it seems like God tests you, where
yeah,
it tests your
well,
patience, it tests
yeah,
your resolve, your faith, where you get in these modes where everything starts going really, really well, and you chalk up a couple really good days, but then boy, all of a sudden, do those next two come a flying in, and it's almost like I've talked about it before as almost like the God, or as God and the devil like have their days with you, where like you get multiple good days with God, but then there are those days the devil slips in and gets to kind of have those days to just kind of fuck with you, I guess,
yeah,
and see if you can withstand the fire. I like to look at it like a forge, like they shove you in the fire and see how much you can stand, and then they kind of pull you out and beat you into the sword you're supposed to be.
right, and yeah, like I see where you're going with that. Here, I challenge you to just twist it, or not twist it, but change the perspective just a little bit, because I used to say, God is testing me,
Mm-hmm.
it's building me, but in actuality, something that I've learned in the last year or so is God does allow certain things to happen, right? But it's because of the choices that we have made that brought
Mm-hmm.
us to these.
There.
It's not God that is doing this to us. We did it. Our choices that
It,
didn't align with His will
yeah, it's always
got
lessons.
us there, right? And He allows us to be in it, and yeah, it is refining us. I mean, it talks about in Scripture,
Yeah,
right? It's like it's molding. He's the potter, and we're the clay,
yeah.
or like a piece of diamond that gets something shaved off on one side to make a smooth instead of a rigid side.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
And it's
So
always me, if that makes
yeah,
sense. Like
yes,
anytime that I'm trying to
self
control
pity.
something or I'm looking elsewhere, or it's always something that I'm doing wrong. If there is something
Yes,
that's repeating in my life, because it
yes,
almost plays out
because
like
I
loops.
did it.
You get like these loops of hell that come through where you start seeing the pattern. You're like, wait a minute, I've lived this like 100 times now. Like, what am I missing?
Right,
Why am I not doing this correctly? What am I missing? And always, if I take that step back and look at myself and go, hey,
right,
what can I do differently to make this better? Can I love more? Can I be more understanding? Can I be more patient? Can I fix something that I'm doing incorrectly? Every time it makes the situation better. Every time that I
right,
take responsibility, that I take accountability, even if something else is happening that's completely wrong or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's something that I could have done differently to fix that situation and to not do that the same way. And almost every time it ends that loop. It You might get thrown at you again just to see if you'll go back, if you'll fall back into the old mindset once you've learned the lesson. I feel like that'll
yeah,
come into play every once in a while where you'll have that same thing come back, but you don't necessarily feel it the same way. It doesn't
yeah,
overwhelm your brain in the same way. And it's like, oh, hey, okay, like I'm getting past that one. But you almost can like treat them like like video game levels to an
right,
extent, where it's like,
hmm,
oh, okay, like this is the lesson that I need to learn on this level. And then once you do it, it's like, oh, you wake up the next morning and it's like, whoa, okay, that was interesting. But
uh-huh.
sorry, I've kind of derailed your
No,
your
no,
journey here.
this is how it goes, and it's like, to piggyback off of that is like, man, I'm having more emotional hangovers than I am waking up like, oh, I'm ready for this day.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm having an emotional hangover from yesterday and then the day before shit and the day before that, because it's why, um, for me, in my walk of doing Team of Mercy for 13 years, something that I did not know, you talked about the PTSD. I am a perfect example of an individual suffering from secondary trauma
Absolutely.
on every level. Like I love Team of Mercy. I love what I've been able to do through this organization for 13 years, but I am 100% burnout.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
I
it.
mean, just
It's
day to
heavy.
day
Yeah,
reliving those things, like that trauma for you, like
right.
it still is going to ignite that wound in some way, shape, or form. I think just as humans, it's you get so used to things that
Mhm.
you don't realize how much it affects you because it's just your normal life. It's just day
Right.
to day life until you take
Mhm.
that step back or you have that outside perspective come in and it's like, whoa, hey,
Mhm.
how do you do this? Like,
Right.
how do you go about it? So can I ask you that? Like,
Yep.
how does that process work for you? Like when you get triggered by those? Because obviously, I mean, there has to be tons of things that pop up that trigger. Like what is kind of your method at this point for being able to pull yourself out of those?
Well, so it's been different through time, right? Uh, there's all kinds of different things that I do. One, counseling myself. Having that established relationship with a therapist.
Hmm.
I have mentors in my life. I have people around me, and a few people that I know that I can be authentically myself and just spew all of that stuff out to,
Yeah.
and be me and ugly cry and ugly scream and F this and F that, like the things that you don't do with everybody, right?
Yes.
I have
But it's very
learned.
healthy to do that.
Absolutely. It's a brain dumping.
Yes.
Trauma, like all of that, emotional. And then I people say it that I struggle with it right now, but like journaling, writing
Hmm.
down, I do a little bit right now, and I know that that's effective. No, let me correct myself because this is where I struggle with this one. I hear that it's effective,
Yeah.
right? People tell me it's effective, and it's like one of those things that you keep hearing over and over, so you know that this is something you should probably be doing. But I don't know that it is effective. Let me clarify that. People tell me that it's effective, but I'm just like bullshit. I hate
Ye-
this.
Yeah.
you know, uh, but I do it, and right now I'm doing it in a form of I'm writing to someone,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So find out what works for you. Some people are like,
Mhm.
oh God, yeah, I love journaling, blah 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 blah, and then I go back and look at it. I've never. I hear that that's one of the best ways to do things, and I'm here to tell you, for me, that is a struggle.
Yeah.
Okay, I've went back and I've looked at years past stuff, and I'm like, I don't find any like comfort. I don't know. And I'm an overthinker.
So
So
same.
I mean, I will mind fuck something to death.
Yep. It's a problem. What?
Yes, I'm my own worst enemy.
Oh, always.
I
Like
am
it
my own worst enemy.
in my brain, I suck at everything. No one cares. No one wants to listen to anything.
Right.
Everything's a failure. And
Yep.
like and I have to flip those. I have to get myself to
It's
where
one
like
scale to the other. It's either I want to
y-
be at the top of the heap or I'm at the pile. I'm
y-
underneath it.
yes. And I have a
The middle.
bad like I don't I'm like that with everything. Like if I'm doing a podcast, I want to have the success level of Joe Rogan. I want to develop my skills
Absolutely.
to be able to like because in my eyes, if I'm going to do it, why would that not be my goal to be the best? Like, and
Right.
I'm like that with everything. Like when I was the gym has been such a good outlet for me, but then it turned into this like almost toxic obsession because it feels so good, and I've just gotten so addicted to like fueling that in my body that I started going 7 days a week. I wasn't taking breaks. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was like almost lifting too much and too heavy to where like my limbs were falling asleep, and it was like, okay, hey, I've got to like dial this
Right.
back a little bit, and finding, like you just said, what works for me. Like I don't need to go in and be, I started watching these guys on YouTube that power lift like crazy people, and like it just really motivated me, and it made me go, oh, I'm not putting myself through hard enough workouts. I'm not putting myself even close to that failure point. So I started working out that way. I started
Right.
every single set was to failure, and I was pushing myself. I was upping the weights to where like by the end of the workouts I couldn't move, but then it was
Right.
draining me for the rest of the day. I
Right.
wasn't having the same energy. I wasn't replenishing the protein the correct way. So
Right.
yes,
I'm right
it's a,
there with you with my CrossFit. I
oh,
do. It's hard. Balancing life is hard.
yeah,
Being properly hydrated, being spiritually fit, being physically fit, being mentally fit. Fuck me.
yeah.
Like,
When
oh my God.
then
You know,
life
so
happens. Like
oh,
actually, I'm gonna. At one point in life, me and my wife were in one of our downslides, and I was in that moment. I'm going to find this note that I wrote to myself, because I was like, you're going to want to remember this moment of all the things that are going wrong in this current moment. And of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now. But
right.
oh my goodness, it was one of those where I was like, oh, like everything is literally crumbling around me. Like me and my wife are not together right now. The fence fell down, the oven's broke, the phones are turned off, our bank
Right.
account's drained. Like, and it
Listen,
was
I
just
hear you.
holy shit. It was like one after another. And
Yeah.
I was just sitting by myself looking around going like, huh, well, this is not how I saw this going. Like, this is a
Right.
wild turn of events. And it was like,
Right.
hey, instead of like sitting here and letting it drain you, let's write about this. Let's write down everything that's wrong right now. Write down all these things that are wrong. And then at the end of it, I was like, but I'm still going to be okay. I'm still going to win. I'm still going to be fine, because this is
Right.
just part of this process. And it's so interesting how our brains can just lock into
And obsessed.
yes.
Like, as we are doing this podcast right now, my brain is literally obsessing over something else that I cannot control.
Yep.
And I am like, as we're doing this, I am like, God, redirect. God,
Yeah.
redirect. And my mind, these intrusive thoughts come in, you know, and I cannot control what another person does. I
Nope.
cannot control what another person thinks. I cannot control any of that. I cannot control what someone else thinks of me.
Yeah.
You know,
Why is that so hard to get past?
I don't have the answer to that, because I'm in the thick of it. You know, when you have, I believe in spiritual warfare. That's what it comes down to for me. I believe in spiritual warfare, and I believe right now I am in a spiritual battle. And I want to say like no other, but I've been here before.
Yeah.
I've been right here before, different circumstances, right? But the feelings are the same. I feel very attacked. I feel under attack. I feel like my personal character is being attacked once again. But it's not anything new to me. And it is this spiritual warfare of the mind.
Yeah. I'm very convinced that that's how this stuff operates. The devil's very sneaky and finds ways
Cunning
to get at
and
you.
baffling is exactly what it says. Cunning and baffling.
Because it knows how to get you. It knows how to get you in the right moments. It knows how to get you with the right sneaky things that feel so real, but you really can't. You can't control anyone else. People are going to speak about you negatively when it suits them. People are going to speak about you positively when it suits them. And they're going to do that regardless of what you're doing. And that's kind of where I learned with with this of like, I was very afraid to put myself back out there. I've never had a relationship with God. I've never had like, nor have I ever done anything like this, especially by myself. So like putting myself out there and doing it, it like mentally just, it constantly has that battle of like, okay, I don't know if I should do this. And it was like, I finally had to go, hey, is this what you want to do? Is this what you
Right.
want to do? Do you want to speak with people about these things, talk to people, be vulnerable, try to help people learn these things that you've learned and make this your life? If so, then fuck it. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. It doesn't matter as long as you're being truthful, you're not hurting anyone, and you're living life the way that you want to live life and it's making you happy, then everything else becomes very irrelevant, because it's like,
Right.
oh, that just kind of fucked with my peace that I've found. I don't want to mess with that anymore. And the
Right.
more that I protect that, the more that I release these things. Like I just speak. If it pops in my head, I'm going to talk about it. I'm like
Right.
that with everybody. And I assume to an extent it pushes a lot of people away because of the way that I just like, if it pops in my head, I ask questions and I'm like, hey, what
I'm
about this?
yeah.
Or,
Right.
and
I ask questions, and it makes people uncomfortable. What I have found out is most people are liars.
mm,
Like, and we all do it. Every single person, and people say, "Oh, I'm not a liar." You're probably the biggest liar.
yep.
Um,
Oh,
and
I did forever. Everything.
yes, and it's like everyone does this. We show people us as much as we want to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we only tell people as much as we want to. Nobody knows us completely except for God.
Yep.
We don't even, because we skew what perspective,
Oh, yeah,
our feelings
absolutely.
and thoughts, skew our perspective, which molds it into something that's not, real all the time, right? So,
Absolutely.
so I'm not saying that I'm above anybody, because I'm not, but I'm definitely not below anybody either. What's been coming to me over and over and over lately is I don't have to fight for mine. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to defend me. I don't have to defend me.
Ooh, that's a
My
hard one to
God,
break.
my God defends me.
Mm-hmm.
My character defends me. Am I going to make mistakes? 1,000%. Am I going to mess up? 1,000%. But my character will show through that
Yep.
how I handle those mess ups, right? When I do something that isn't in line with my God's plan, and how I respond to that, I am only in control of my actions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what just keeps coming over and over. Even though I want to lash out and I want to tell everybody about
Oh,
you, I want to tell you, well, then now I'm stooping down to your level.
yep.
When you're out here spreading lies because you've been exposed, and
Yeah.
so now you got to make me look like I'm the bad. Like, what? Like, okay,
Sometimes you,
I want to come back, and I'm like,
oh,
no, I'm not, I can't do this right now, because you're about to show your ass in due time.
yep. It,
Because you can't hold on. You can't hold on for that long. I can, because this is who I am.
yes. That's why
So I'm
honesty,
going to remain steady.
well, and that's why honesty is so important. Like that was something that I realized throughout this process, that it's so easy to take the comfort. It's so easy to just lie, or give a half truth. And to
Yeah,
me, all of it's lying. If you're manipulating, if you're giving a half truth. And I just
right,
aggressively started being bluntly honest, even when it was
right.
hard, even when it was like something I didn't want to talk about, something I fucked up, something I did. I just started like, hey,
Yeah,
I just did this. Like, I just lied to you about this. That was so stupid. And the more I did it, the more it made me not want to do it anymore, because it gave
right.
me that like, whoa, like, damn it, I don't want to
Right.
have
Well,
to
yeah, I mean,
like,
you're holding yourself accountable. You want to
yeah,
stop saying, "Oh man, I fucked up. I lied. I did this. I did that." you
Well,
know.
then I just released everything. Like we sat and released all of it. I released everything. Anything that popped in my head that it was like, oh yeah, I did this one time. That was really fucking stupid. Like, and it was the same concept. Every time I did
Mhm.
it, it opened up another blockage. It opened up another level. It gave me another like piece of this puzzle where like I don't care. Like I don't lie about anything anymore because it almost hurts me now to lie
Right.
about things. Like I would rather just bluntly, honestly tell you how I feel or what's happening or
Right.
whatever than me have to like feel that for the next 3 days because I lied to you about something stupid. Like I've
Right.
just gotten to that point where speaking out everything, and that was
Mhm.
not I was that person that constantly would call in to work and make up dumb excuses, or I would screw
Right.
something up and I would blame it on this thing, or I would, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't, I just did, and I'd hurry up and fix it, or I would just never take accountability. And then doing these podcasts, that was, I started feeling it. I started feeling better when I would like almost like, I always say Eminem 8 Mile myself and just kind of like spit out all of the things that I've screwed up. And it's like, oh, this
Mhm.
is so freeing. Like, this makes me feel so much better than that bullshit. And then it legitimately, like, I feel like my physical weight has lifted with it. Like, the
Right.
more I do this, I don't hold on to shit. I don't stress about things
Right.
because I have nothing to hide. I don't
Right.
have a reason to lie anymore. Like I had plenty of reasons to lie before, but now I've pretty openly talked about, I think, everything that I've screwed up at this point. So
Right.
it just like it starts just flowing out naturally. But as humans, we were like almost ingrained as kids, like with everything. You're if you act out of line in a store, parents, oh hey, don't cry, don't sing, don't be loud, don't, because
Right.
you want
Right.
and you essentially just teach people to follow the herd.
Right.
Don't be
And not be
yourself.
kids.
Don't.
Like, yeah, I see
Yeah,
people do that all the time with kids, and it's just like, let a kid be a kid. Now you got to correct them and don't let them act buck wild.
absolutely.
But a kid is going to be a kid. You can't expect a kid to sit down and be quiet for 2 hours.
Yeah. it well, then like you have
Just all
school,
kinds of things. Yeah.
like where it
Yeah.
and you're from such a young age, everything is structure, everything is
Yeah.
developing you into this, be a good worker. They flood your brain with all this completely unnecessary bullshit in
Mhm.
school rather than doing like life skills, doing like, I mean, I
Right.
knew they do some, and that obviously is our job as parents to do these things too, but like life and time and like when do parents have time anymore to sit down and have real conversations with their kids when you have phones and the dinner, you have games, you have this activity, that activity, the showers, bedtime, work, like the day gets away from people, everybody's exhausted. If you're also unhappy with what you're doing in life, it just creates this constant loop of negativity where
Mhm.
I'm very convinced that if there's something in your heart that you consistently are gravitating towards, I'm not saying quit your job and immediately like make that your thing, but like
Right.
start taking steps towards making that your thing. Go find
Right.
a way to make that your hobby at first, or and these things that you naturally gravitate. Like if we're made from the dirt, from God, and we have
Yeah.
everything here that we need, what do you need all of these things for? It's all
Right.
like almost modern day temptation and sin to an extent, where how do you avoid these things? You if you like,
Right.
so I just started reading the Bible for the first time about a month ago. I'm
Mhm.
probably only like 20 pages in because it took me a while to get through the names and all of their children and how many years they lived. And that one like took my brain. I was like, I'm not gonna like remember any of these things, but I'm gonna read through it
Right.
anyway, just so I can like get a gist. But it's interesting how it it has an answer for everything, and it made my
Mhm.
brain go, oh, like we really do have everything that we need. And you made the comment about the after death like expenses. It's kind of like that with the funeral business. It
Oh,
like
it's
they prey on
ridiculous.
these things, and in all fairness, if we're made from the dirt, wouldn't we put the body back in the dirt? to like put it back to where it was made from? Like, wouldn't you kind of like fuck up that process by putting it in a coffin or burning it? Like it just kind of like,
yeah, there's so much wrong with all the systems in the world.
and it's all just
crazy.
profit.
Yes, it is. Why do you have to have all this stuff? Why does a body have to be embalmed with poison? All of this, there is so much stuff that is just insane about a funeral.
And like, so then I've had AI break down the Bible in different ways, and I've asked it different questions because obviously it can just give me the information a heck of a lot faster, whether it's completely accurate or not. But it's more just me like having thoughts and theories on these things as I'm going through it. So I use AI like my notepad while I'm reading the Bible, and I'm like, okay, question, what did they mean by this? Or like, what did this mean? And it just, I don't know, it always helps me try to like figure it out. But that was another one that popped up where it was like, oh, all of this stuff is kind of designed in a way to keep this profit machine going, whether they are doing it by design or not. I mean, but profit's profit, and you're not going to fix things that are continuing to move the machine in the right way. And it seems like mental health is an incredibly profitable thing across the board.
Right. It is.
Oh,
there's so much.
So I want to kind of get back. We kind of derailed a little bit as far as like the way you process things. So like, I guess this may be kind of one of those intrusive questions, but kind of what you're dealing with now. Is it something that you can like talk about in a way at all?
Yeah. So, there's lots of things going on in my life personally and professionally right now. So, personally, dealing with a breakup of a relationship, and then having my father in the hospital, and having a triple bypass surgery, being a single parent with a 17-year-old daughter, which she is a great kid, but knowing that, her future is, she'll be a senior next year, and making sure that she's on the right track, trying to make sure that, what does my finances look like, for the future, professionally, my career, what does that look like? Because knowing that, I'm burnt out on doing the things that I'm doing. It's not that I don't want to do them anymore, or, all of those types of things, but it's just like knowing that I might not be the person anymore for the job, right? Like maybe I've done what I could do, and there is new adventures for me,
Absolutely.
To do that. What does that look like? Team of Mercy's been such a huge part of who I am, and my identity, right? And just all of those things. That is all going on right now in this very second, and the relationship where it's just like you thought that you met this person, right? And this person presents themselves as this person, and you think that they're this great upstanding person, and then as months go by and you fall in love with someone, and then they start to change, and you grab onto it even tighter, like what's going on, and they're promising you marriage and this stuff and all this, and then slowly they are changing into a person that you do not recognize, to fast forward to today, that is literally trying to like ruin your reputation in the community, like telling people that you were, and it's like you live in I swear to God, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I'm convinced when you're on the cusp of something changing in your life,
there you are.
And I think right now you're in that spot of clearing out the space, because that's been like my last year to an extent. Like
Yep.
that was kind of where me and my wife's things came into play. We did not date the correct way. We did not
Yeah.
unpack our baggage the way we should have, and
Yeah.
we ended up tripping over it. And then we had to
Yeah.
spend a lot more time on the back end making that journey back through it. And luckily we've been able to like love each other enough through it to push
Good. I
ourselves through it and
love
deal
to
with it.
hear
But
that.
it's been hard. It's been
I
very, but
love to hear that.
we learned like, hey, we were young and scared, and we both jumped into something because we fell
Yeah.
in love, and then we were both too scared to speak about who we really were. We were both too scared to show each other who we really
Right.
were, anything bad. So we both just put on these good
Right.
faces, and it worked for a long time until it didn't,
Right.
until it started showing its face, and then it was like, whoa, hey, what was this?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? And
Yeah.
we went to war for a little bit with it, and then
I
coming back
love
on
it.
the
You
other
have
side,
to. You have to, and that's what I feel like. It's war.
yeah,
You know, and I don't like the all negative, because in the midst of this, Jared, I am here to tell you, God is moving in big ways in my
yes,
life.
absolutely,
It's me that is focusing on this one fucking
yeah.
major
So
negative, like, and it's like, and God is saying, but I just showed you two huge things of where your life is going. Like,
oh,
I've
I love
given
it.
you. Like, he had to show me these things, right, to give me hope. But in my darkest moments, like right now, you know, like right before I got on with you, you know, it was just another fucking attack on my mind, you know, and
it was supposed to happen for this conversation
Yes.
right now, though,
Yes.
because everything happens for you, not to you, and there
Yes.
was a reason for that. It
Yes.
puts you in a spot to, again, it feels like you're just doing that same thing. You're clearing out space for that next
It
thing,
is.
like the career, the
But why can't I just let it clear?
because you're
It's
attached
passing like
to
a
it.
fucking kidney stone.
Yeah, as humans, we get so attached to these things that like any sort of change is weird. Any sort of
Yeah.
thing that takes you out of your comfort zone, it fucks with your brain. But then the more
It
you
does.
purposely put yourself in those positions, like I love doing whatever. We did a bunch of stuff with the diner that was way out of my comfort zone. Like
Yes.
since then, putting myself in these positions of like being in the gym, going harder. I did a 46-degree cold plunge, like just anything that I can do to put myself in a position that on the back end of it makes me have that like space clearing, like whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. If you can clear out some shit, you make space for something new. I don't remember if I watched a video, if I read it, but Steve Harvey talked about when he was younger, he wanted a new car, and he had an old car on blocks that he'd been trying to fix forever. He just never could get it running or whatever it was. And it just sat on blocks in the driveway. And he kept telling his mom that he was going to get a new car. And she's like, all right, baby, well, what are you going to do with the other car? And I don't care about that car. I want my new car. And he just kept all the time. And then finally he was like, why do you keep asking about the old car? And she's like, because where are you going to put the new one? Your old car is still sitting, taking up that space. You have nowhere to put a new car. And he got rid of the old car, had somebody come and tow it. And I believe he said within like a week or a month, he had his new car and everything panned out. And it kind of like put it into perspective of like, oh, you really do have to clear out space of things that aren't for you. And when you go through that process of almost like finding your authentic self, where you just start releasing the lies, releasing the masks, the bullshit that we do as humans, because we don't want people to make fun of us. We don't want people to think we're weird or we're different, but I think we are. I think we're all different. I think as humans, we're all wired the same way, but I think everyone has a purpose. Everyone has something that they're here to do, and your body tells you that. We just never let our body speak. We're constantly flooding it with music, with TV, with music, with it doesn't matter. We just can't sit in silence because you're not used to boredom. So it's the phone. It's, I got to call somebody. I've got to eat. You're never sitting in silence, listening to yourself and trusting that gut instinct and that intuition. And it's always right. Like it kind of feeds you what you need to do. And if that lights up your inner child, do it. So like for
Right.
you, switching and kind of like trying to figure out what you like, basically what you want in life, what makes you happy? Like what makes you happy as a person?
For me,
Hmm.
I do like serving
Okay.
people. I like being around people. Right now, not so much, just because I feel burned, you know. And I've learned in life that you get set apart
Hmm.
when God is doing certain things, and I'm being set apart right now.
Yep.
Like I said, this is not my first go round with this, so it's like it's familiar, but it's not familiar. It's different people, different situations around me, you know, all of those types of things. But things that having that true connection with God and knowing that I'm walking in alignment with His will. I
Hmm.
have never felt happier, or it's not even just happy, but just full of joy, because happiness is a fleeting feeling. Joy is like rooted inside of you,
Yeah.
you know, and those have been some of the most joyful, happy times of my life is when I know I'm rooted in Him. And
Absolutely.
then all the other stuff, like, you know, I want to travel. I want to, you know, really, I mean, that's really like my goal right now is figuring out how can I live a life right now, financially and purposefully, that is going to align with His will and get me the finances to be a good steward of my finances that will allow me to just
Yeah.
travel the world and explore. The reason why I want to travel is because I want to explore. I want to I want to learn other cultures. I want to see different things. I want to experience the beauty of this world.
Yes. Same. We live on this beautiful planet that was created for us to live on. I'm very convinced that we are not here to work our lives away, retire in our 60s and look back.
No,
We're supposed to live. We're supposed
I
to
want to
enjoy
live.
life. And like me and my wife keep looking at different places to go like that. What you just described is exactly what I'm doing with this
Yeah,
was that avenue for me. It was like, hey, I really like talking to people. I really want to help people. To get certified as a personal trainer or nutritionist, I have to pay $1,500 to be
yeah,
certified in any sort of mental health thing. I have to go through and it's like I'm doing this on my own by myself.
yeah.
Like, why can't I just talk about it? And it was like, well,
Right.
I can just go on here and talk
Talk
about it.
about your
And
own journey.
yeah.
It's going to hit somebody,
And
you know,
then
and be like, yeah, I can identify with that. And they'll, how did Jared get there? Well, this is what
absolutely.
Jared did. Great. Take
And
what
I'm
you
just
need and leave the rest.
normal person from
Yeah.
a small town in Indiana. Like we have
Yep.
been broke throughout this whole process. I never had a relationship with God. I was an angry asshole. I had no direction in my life
I
whatsoever.
can still be an
And
angry asshole,
oh,
Jared. Let's
same.
just
Yeah,
be.
yeah. That's I've just learned to let anger control the control panel for a couple minutes, let him do what he needs to do, and then we let
Let
joy
it
get back in
go.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to talk about things just like this.
Yeah,
You know, we're talking, and we have to allow ourselves to feel the feelings, and then
absolutely.
once we get through that feeling, it's like,
You kind of feel, I don't want to say silly for feeling it, but afterwards it seems so less
minute.
heavy when yeah,
Seems
because
so
you just,
minute.
and I think just normalizing not wearing the mask, normalizing
Yeah.
like if you're having a bad day, have a bad day. Like, but
Well,
get
just
yourself out
moments.
of it by having a bad day and being, if
Just
you
moments.
don't talk about it, then these three minor things that popped up in your day completely fuck your brain up. And then now you're
Yep.
on a war path for a week because now these three things didn't go a certain way and
Right.
those really had no relevance. It was this one thing
Right.
that pissed you off that you didn't handle, so now you're mad about the toilet paper roll is flipped
Right.
over on the wrong side, but in reality you're pissed off because this thing happened and it didn't get handled the way it went in your head. But again, I think it's all just human nature. We
Right.
overthink, we care, we love,
Right.
But you're so afraid to be different or made fun of, or at least for me, that's always been what it is, that you kind of hide your real self. You just follow along with the herd. You do what everybody
Yeah.
tells you to do. And then if that's not what you're supposed to be doing, you're driving yourself insane.
Right. I mean, just talking to you and talking about all this life stuff, like what I came into this podcast with that was so heavy and daunting and dark over me wanting to retaliate, me wanting to defend my
Yeah.
honor,
Yep.
or, call somebody and be like, well, blah, 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 blah. I don't feel the need to do that
Yeah.
anymore.
You let people are going to say what they want. People are going to do what they want. That's on them. That you can just live the life the way you're living it. Know that you're living your truth. The right people will be there. The wrong people are going to go away. And I just keep looking at that as that's kind of the God's plan thing of things are happening for you, not to you, and just taking the lesson out of everything. Any
Yeah.
hard time, any storm, I've taken it as that, like, okay, what am I doing wrong? This has happened more than
Right.
once. This is a continuation. What am I doing wrong? And I have no problem taking accountability. I will
Right.
aggressively look at myself and go, hey, what are you doing wrong here, man? Like, same thing. Like, I think I put out 7 podcasts before I did yours, and I let the results get me. It was like,
Right.
you've been doing this for a month and you're expecting this to just take off. You need to do this, you need to do this. And then I let it overwhelm me. I let it take
One
over.
foot in
And
front of
then,
the other.
yep. And then it was just like, I got a spurt of that creative energy back. I was kind of in the plans. I started talking to you. I talked to a couple other people, and now I have multiple scheduled again, and I'm
Yeah,
back like,
I just reached out to you,
yeah,
out of, that just came to mind one day, like, hey, like, how can I do better at the color run, because I feel insufficient because that motivation isn't there, right?
yep,
And then I know some other things that are coming down the pipeline that nobody else knows about. I'm holding on to this, and it's just like I'm afraid for Team of Mercy, and then it's like, I was like, oh my God, let's the diner. Let
mm-hmm.
me reach out to them, and you're the only one who reached out back.
Well, I'm glad I was
And it
able
was
to.
just, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, here we are.
Well, and then we have this conversation, and it
Yeah,
fit the exact thing that
it's
I'm wanting
not,
to do. The way that I'm
yeah,
like wanting to have conversations with people is exactly like this, just speaking about real life and
yeah,
things that happen, and not being afraid of like, oh, this is weird that I'm saying this, or this is like it's life. Everyone goes through
right,
these things. Everyone has problems. Everyone has issues. I don't know if I said this earlier, if it was beforehand, but rich, poor, it doesn't matter your race, religion, like nobody gets out unscathed. Nobody goes through without problems. There's always something that you're trying to get in life. There's always something that you're trying to strive for. Nobody's perfect. I'm very convinced that you can't be perfect. You just have to
right,
do your best every day. You can drive yourself insane by living in the future, and you can drive yourself insane by living in the past. If you go
right,
backwards, you're hashing out all the ways you fucked up. If you're in the future, you're looking at all the things you don't have yet and what you
right,
want and how to get there, and you drive
right.
yourself insane if you can dial that back and try to live in the moment, which is so hard. But if you can
So
figure out how
hard.
to live in the moment
Yep,
and just be thankful for everything, expect nothing, appreciate everything, and
right,
just any moment, like a cardinal pops up and starts chirping at me, it's like, oh cool, that was neat, thank you. Like, or you walk out and it's warm and it's not 20 degrees anymore, and it's like, oh, thank you, God. This is amazing. I get to come out and stand outside in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm not freezing to
right,
death today. This is amazing. Like taking those moments, or when my kids are at home, putting the phone down. If they're talking to me, if they're wanting to do something, like, just, yeah, what do we want to do? Let's go do it. Like, what? Because I missed so much that time working. I was working constantly. Even when I was home, I was on the phone always. I gave them my whole life, and getting this opportunity to be home and to be with them, take them to school every day, pick them up every day, like, not ever letting myself take that for granted again, because I did for a long time. And I
Right.
let that be a detriment to my day of like, oh, I got to go pick up. And now it's like, hey, jackass, you spent your whole life working, wishing you were at home, taking your kids at school, picking them up. You spent all that time being in your head about it. Now you have it, and you're so in your head about trying to figure out how to make money, trying to figure out how to do this, that you're going to lose the most important thing. The whole reason you're trying to do this shit is right in front of you. Don't let that go away. Find that balance there. This will come whenever it's supposed to, but learning what I want in life, what is important to me, what makes me happy. And it's none of the material things. It's none of like, obviously being able to like, pay my bills and travel and things are, kind of cool.
Right.
That would be great. But as far as like needing all this wild bullshit and like, no, I just want my family, and I want to be able to be free and happy.
Right.
That is like
just
ultimate goal for me.
Of all the bullshit. Yes.
Yeah. Just being a free human, live life the way you want to live life and enjoy it the way I believe it was intended to be enjoyed, rather than letting all this modern day shit just swell your head. I'm very convinced that Facebook is one of the most evil things that is out there. Like it gets its hooks in me all the time, and it's like, oh my gosh, like it immediately makes me negative. If I get on there to post something, it like there's so many times that I've gotten on there to post something or to check something, and I'm like, all right, get on, check it, get off. And 2 minutes later, I'm scrolling through and I'm like, I can feel the like anger, and it's like, what? Why? Like, what about this just made? And it's just something about being on there like gives me that weird ick. And it's like, okay, hey, you gotta just like, I can use it to like put things out and advertise if I want to. But even that I went back and forth on, where I'm like, I don't even know that I want to go like put anything on it. Like it just gives me that weird feeling. But it's so interesting how many different ways in this modern world they can get to you, and they can get a hold of your brain.
Yep, you're right.
Well, we are well over what I thought we were going to be, so I apologize.
No, you're good.
Promote one more time the Team of Mercy and the color run, and how people can donate?
Team of Mercy, yes. Team of Mercy's color run is May 16th. You can register. All you got to do is go to teamofmercy.org, click events, and go down to Surviving the Color, and go to that page and register now. If you have any questions, we have Facebook. My email address is Christina@teamofmercy.org. And our hotline number is 855-225-5550. And just call if you have any kind of questions. And we're excited.
That's
biggest
awesome.
Event of the year.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable. And I absolutely love it. I hope everything definitely plays out the way it's supposed to. It's all going to kind of come to a wonderful, positive crescendo for you. And it'll be one of those where it's like, see, it all happened for a reason.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Thank you, Jared.
Well, thank you so much. Have a nice rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining. We will be back on the next one. Bye.